The evening breeze brushed against Ella's skin as she stood before the glass doors of the Grand Azure Hotel. Her fingers tingled from the pressure of holding her keycard, the same key that opened every door in the hotel she owned. Yet tonight, her sister Vanessa stood blocking her way, chin high and smirk sharp. From inside, their father's laughter thundered through the glowing lobby that Ella had personally designed. "You can't be serious," Vanessa said, lowering her voice to a taunting whisper. "You're not coming in dressed like that." She smoothed her glittering dress, a cheap imitation of one Ella had seen sketched by her designer friend just last week. "This is the Grand Azure, Ella," Vanessa continued with a sly grin. "The tasting menu alone costs more than you make in a month." If only she knew. Ella's lips curved slightly as she met her sister's gaze. "Funny," she said softly. "I created that menu with the chef myself." Vanessa blinked, momentarily thrown off. "Sure you did," she scoffed, crossing her arms. "Mom and Dad made it clear, you're not invited. Only successful people tonight." The irony stung like salt on an open wound. Just yesterday, Ella had approved a $100 million expansion of the Grand Azure chain. Tonight, she was apparently unworthy to enter her own lobby. Before Ella could respond, a familiar voice sliced through the tension. "Ella!" Her mother appeared behind Vanessa, dressed in pearls and disapproval. "We discussed this, you weren't supposed to come." Ella steadied her breathing. "I brought a gift," she said quietly, lifting a small envelope from her clutch. Her mother tilted her head. "A gift card to Olive Garden, perhaps?" Vanessa burst into laughter. "Or something from the discount store." Their mother's eyes narrowed as she examined Ella's minimalist clutch. Fine Italian leather, handcrafted, worth more than Vanessa's car. "Whatever it is," she said coldly, "your sister's gift will be more appropriate. She just made partner at her firm, you know." "I know," Ella replied calmly. She knew everything. How Vanessa's firm was struggling to lease office space in one of her buildings, how they were months behind on payments. Her mother smiled proudly, oblivious. Vanessa's doing so well. New house, luxury car, fiancé with a promising career. "And you?" She gave a half-smile that wasn't kind. "At least you're trying." Ella thought about her penthouse overlooking Central Park, her private jet, her chain of luxury hotels across continents. "Yes, Mom," she said softly. "At least I'm trying." Vanessa eyed her with mock pity. "That dress though, really? This is the Grand Azure, not a diner." Ella glanced down at her black silk gown, custom-made by a Paris designer who had once refused Vanessa's order. "It's what I could manage," she said with a calm smile. Vanessa smirked. "You can't come in anyway. We reserved the VIP floor. It's for family and important guests only." The words barely registered. Ella had personally redesigned that floor last year, choosing every chandelier and every painting. "Important guests?" she asked. Her mother waved dismissively. "The Andersons, the Blackwoods, Mr. Harrison from the bank. All very important." Ella's smile deepened. "Oh yes," she said softly. "I know them all quite well." Vanessa tilted her head, clearly enjoying the moment. "So, you see why you can't be here," she said smugly. "What would people think if they saw Dad's failure of a daughter serving drinks?" Their mother gave a half-hearted scolding. "Vanessa, be polite," she murmured, though pride lingered in her tone. "Ella made her choices." Ella smiled faintly. The so-called family firm they worshipped now occupied a small office in one of her buildings, barely making rent each month. If only they knew the reports she received every week about their late payments. Just then Gavin, Vanessa's fiancé, appeared at the doorway, fixing his tie. "What's taking so long?" he asked, then froze when he saw Ella. "Didn't expect to see you here." Vanessa grinned. "Neither did we." Their mother straightened proudly. "Gavin just made vice president at his bank." "Junior vice president," Ella corrected gently, her tone calm but precise. His face flickered with surprise. She knew his title because his bank handled some of her smaller accounts. Gavin's lips parted, but no words came out. Well, it's still more impressive than whatever you're doing, Vanessa shot back. What is it now? Assistant manager at some diner? Ella almost laughed. She had left a board meeting that morning discussing the acquisition of Gavin's bank, the paperwork likely waiting on her desk upstairs in her private office. Something like that, she replied softly. Vanessa folded her arms, smirking. You should leave before you embarrass us further. Her words bounced off Ella like raindrops on glass. She'd weathered worse storms than this. This is ridiculous, their mother said sharply. Ella, just go. You're making a scene. Vanessa laughed under her breath. Tell Dad she couldn't afford to come, she added cruelly. Ella's eyes lifted to the glittering glass doors, catching her own reflection. Strong, steady, unmoved. Behind them lay the hotel she'd built from the ground up, marble floors she'd chosen, chandeliers she'd imported, artwork she'd handpicked. Every inch of it was hers. You're right, she said quietly. It is ridiculous. Her fingers tightened around the keycard. For a heartbeat, Ella considered walking away. Let them have their illusion, their fragile pride, their empty celebration. But then her mentor's words echoed in her mind. Success means nothing if you can't stand up for yourself. She lifted her chin, calm and certain. Actually, she said, her voice steady, I think I'll stay. Before anyone could reply, the glass doors opened and Owen, her head of security, stepped out. Everything all right, ma'am? He asked respectfully. Your usual table is ready. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. Vanessa's jaw dropped, her painted smile collapsing into shock. Your usual table, she echoed, her voice trembling. Owen nodded politely. Chef Michel is waiting for your approval on tonight's tasting menu, ma'am. The silence that followed was electric. Their mother's hand froze on the brass handle while Vanessa's face paled beneath her makeup. Ella turned slowly, a calm smile curving her lips. Perfect timing, Owen, she said. My family was just explaining how I can't afford to dine here. Owen blinked. But ma'am, you own the entire hotel. Vanessa stumbled backward, clutching her fake designer purse. What? She stammered. Owen stood tall, his tone professional. Miss Ella is the founder and CEO of Azure Hospitality Group, owner of all Grand Azure hotels worldwide. Her mother gasped, gripping the door for balance. That's impossible, Vanessa whispered. The Grand Azure is worth billions. Ella's calm voice broke through their disbelief. Yes, she said softly, which makes your comment about me not affording the tasting menu quite amusing. She stepped past them into the golden light of her lobby. The moment Ella entered, the staff straightened with pride. Good evening, Miss Ella, the front desk manager greeted warmly. The executive suite is ready for your father's celebration. Thank you, Rachel, she replied, her heels clicking against the marble floor she had once chosen herself. She turned back to her frozen family, still standing at the door like unwelcome guests. Coming? She asked gently. They followed in silence, eyes wide, their confidence melting away. Every staff member they passed greeted Ella with genuine respect her family had never given her. Vanessa stared at her sister's dress as if seeing it for the first time. That gown, she muttered weakly. Ella looked down, smoothing the fine black silk. Custom made in Paris, she said casually. About 30,000, I think. I tend to forget the exact price. Their mother blinked rapidly. And Vanessa's dress. Ella's smile widened slightly. A knockoff. The real Valentino collection hasn't been released yet. I know because I attended the private showing last month. Vanessa's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her confidence had vanished. The elevator doors opened with a quiet chime. Ella pulled a silver key card from her clutch and inserted it into the panel. This one's for the VIP lounge, she said. My floor. Her mother flinched at the words. Your floor, she echoed faintly. Yes, Ella replied. I designed it last year myself. They stepped into the glass elevator, the city lights stretching behind them as the car ascended. Vanessa clutched the rail, silent for once. Ella's reflection in the glass looked calm, powerful, and exactly where she belonged. When the elevator doors opened, the party fell silent. Laughter died mid-breath, glasses paused mid-air. The room was grand. Crystal chandeliers, golden drapes, soft jazz in the background. At the head table, Mr. Thompson, Ella's father, froze when he saw her. "Ella!" His voice cracked in disbelief. "What are you doing here? Your mother said you couldn't afford to come." She walked gracefully across the marble floor, each step echoing with quiet authority. "Happy birthday, Dad," she said. "I hope you don't mind that I'm crashing the party in my own hotel." Her father's confusion deepened. "Your hotel?" he repeated, glancing around. Before Ella could answer, Mr. Harrison from the bank stood up eagerly. "Miss Ella. You're that Ella. We've been trying to secure a meeting with you for months." Murmurs rippled through the guests. "Ella owns the Grand Azure," someone whispered. "And the resorts too," another replied. Thomas Anderson, a well-known businessman, turned to her father. "Robert, your daughter is the mysterious CEO buying half the city's real estate." Her father sat down heavily, pale and speechless. "For years," he muttered, "we thought you were just a glorified waitress." Ella raised an eyebrow. "Your words, I believe, from the day I left the family firm." Her mother's voice quivered. "Why didn't you tell us?" Ella tilted her head slightly. "Would you have believed me? 10 years ago, you didn't even believe I could manage a restaurant. You only respect success once it's proven." The room was silent except for the faint sound of jazz. "By your measure," she added softly, "I suppose I'm the wealthiest person here." Vanessa sank into a nearby chair, her face drained of color. "The villa in France I tried to rent last summer, the one that was unavailable," she whispered. Ella nodded. "Mine," she confirmed. "My manager forwarded your request without realizing who it was from." She turned toward Gavin. "The office building your firm is trying to lease. Also mine. And Mom, that resort membership you've been waiting for. It's on my exclusive list." Their faces turned pale as the reality of their dependence unfolded in front of strangers. "Ella," her father began, voice trembling. We," she raised her hand gently. "Please don't. I didn't do this to humiliate you. I did it because I'm tired of hiding my success just to make you comfortable." She looked around the room, every guest now hanging on her every word. "Please enjoy the party," she said, her tone poised but warm. "Everything tonight is on the house, my house." Then she paused, turning to her father. "And that envelope Vanessa wouldn't let me give you. It's the deed to a villa in Tuscany." Gasps filled the room as Ella placed the envelope on the table before her stunned father. Vanessa's mouth opened, but no words came out. Their mother pressed a shaking hand to her chest, whispering, "A villa?" Ella smiled faintly. "Yes, in Tuscany. Consider it a birthday gift. From your so-called failure of a daughter." The room buzzed with whispers. Guests who had once ignored her leaned closer, curious now. Ella remained composed, her calm presence commanding the space she had built with her own strength. The night continued, surreal and quiet. People who had overlooked Ella for years suddenly crowded around her, eager to speak. "We've heard about your resort chain," one guest said. "Do you take private investors?" asked another. The Blackwoods, who once refused to acknowledge her at social events, now begged for membership at her exclusive resort. Mr. Harrison cornered her politely about his bank's pending loan. Through it all, Ella moved with grace, answering softly, her composure never breaking. Across the room, her family sat frozen, unable to meet her eyes. Vanessa's fiancé, Gavin, fidgeted beside her, checking his phone every few seconds. "You're quiet," Vanessa muttered, trying to regain control. Gavin didn't look up. "I just found out your firm's lease was denied," he said quietly. Vanessa's breath caught. "What?" He looked away, guilt flashing in his eyes. Apparently the building's owner decided against renewing contracts for companies behind on payments. Vanessa's stomach twisted. "That's her, isn't it?" she whispered. Gavin didn't answer. He stood abruptly and slipped out, leaving Vanessa trembling, her world unraveling fast. Their mother leaned toward her husband, voice trembling. "Robert, say something." He sat motionless, eyes on Ella. "She doesn't need me to say anything," he murmured. "She's done more than I ever imagined." "We were hard on her," she said softly. "We just wanted her to be safe." "No," he replied. "We wanted her to be small." His wife flinched at the truth. Across the room, Ella was laughing with the hotel staff, her joy genuine, her confidence radiant. For the first time, Robert saw what pride should have felt like. As the celebration faded into soft music and low chatter, Ella excused herself and walked toward the terrace. The cool night air wrapped around her shoulders, carrying the faint hum of city lights below. She leaned on the railing, staring at the skyline that sparkled like a reflection of her journey. Bright, bold, unbroken. Behind her, footsteps approached. It was her father. "Those buildings," he said quietly, pointing toward the city. "How many of them do you own?" Ella smiled gently. "Enough," she said. "The family firms included." Robert exhaled slowly, his voice heavy with regret. "I was wrong about you, Ella. So terribly wrong." She turned to face him, her eyes calm but unreadable. "Yes," she said softly. "You were." He swallowed hard. "Can you forgive us?" The question hung in the air, fragile and uncertain. Ella looked away toward the skyline again, her expression thoughtful. "Forgiveness isn't the problem, Dad. Respect is. You never respected my dreams until they made headlines." Her voice carried no bitterness, just quiet truth shaped by years of silence. He stepped closer, his shoulders sagging under the weight of his pride. "I thought I was protecting you," he said. "But all I did was limit you." Ella's lips curved into a sad smile. "You didn't protect me, Dad. You doubted me. And sometimes, doubt hurts more than failure." He nodded slowly, eyes glistening with shame. "You built something beautiful, Ella. Something I can't take credit for." "That's okay," she said gently. "You don't need to. I built it because you told me I couldn't." Her words struck deep. From inside, faint applause rose, the staff celebrating the night's success. Ella and her father stood in silence for a moment, the wind brushing past like a sigh. "Your mother," he said finally. "She'll try to rewrite this story by morning." Ella chuckled softly. "I know. She always does." "And Vanessa?" he asked. "She'll have to learn humility," Ella replied. "Maybe losing comfort will help her find character." Her father gave a small, weary smile. "You sound just like your grandmother." "I'll take that as a compliment," Ella said warmly. Inside, Vanessa sat alone, scrolling through her phone. The fiancé was gone, the attention had vanished, and her mother sat beside her in stunned silence. "She embarrassed us," Vanessa whispered bitterly. Her mother sighed. "No," she admitted. "She revealed us." Tears welled in Vanessa's eyes. "I don't understand how she did it all." "By working," her mother replied quietly. "Something we never thought she could do." For the first time, Vanessa's pride faltered, replaced by something she hadn't felt in years, regret. Back on the terrace, Ella watched the lights flicker across the city she had conquered. Her father's voice was soft beside her. "You know, I'm proud of you," he said. Ella smiled faintly. "I didn't build this to make you proud, Dad. I built it because I needed to prove something to myself." He nodded, understanding now what he never had before. "You proved it," he said simply. Ella turned toward him, her eyes glowing in the city light. "Then let that be enough," she whispered. "For both of us." As Ella and her father stood quietly, the city stretched below them like a sea of light. "You always had her strength," Robert said after a pause. "Your grandmother would have adored what you've become." Ella's heart softened at the memory. "She's the one who taught me not to wait for permission," she said. "I wish you'd listened to her too." He gave a slow nod. "So do I." For the first time in years, Their silence felt peaceful instead of painful, a bridge slowly being rebuilt. Inside the hall, the music had turned gentle. The guests whispered among themselves, still in awe of the revelation. Ella stepped back inside, her poise commanding every eye in the room. People greeted her with newfound respect, but she moved past them toward her staff. "Thank you everyone," she said warmly. "Tonight went perfectly." They smiled proudly. Her leadership had always been quiet but powerful. Watching from a distance, her mother whispered to Vanessa, "She carries herself like she owns the world." Vanessa sighed. "She kind of does." Ella paused near the grand piano where a waiter handed her a flute of champagne. "To new beginnings," he said nervously. "And to truth," she replied, raising her glass. From across the room, Vanessa finally approached, her face pale and trembling. "Ella," she began, voice low. I didn't know." "You didn't want to know," Ella said softly. "You believed the version of me that made you feel superior." Vanessa looked down, ashamed. "You really built all this," she whispered. "Brick by brick," Ella said. "And without anyone's hand but mine." Vanessa hesitated, tears filling her eyes. "I was awful to you." "Yes," Ella said calmly. "But you were taught to be." Vanessa frowned. "By who?" "By people who believed success had only one shape," Ella replied. "A suit, an office, a last name." Vanessa's voice cracked. "Can I fix it?" Ella smiled faintly. "Not tonight. But you can start by respecting yourself first. Maybe then you'll understand me." For a long moment, the sisters stood in silence, two women finally seeing each other without envy or judgment. Their mother joined them, dabbing at her eyes with a silk handkerchief. "Ella," she said softly, "I don't deserve forgiveness." "No, Mom," Ella replied gently. "You deserve honesty." Her mother nodded weakly. "You're stronger than all of us." "Not stronger," Ella said. "Just tired of being told I wasn't enough." Her mother reached for her hand. "I see you now," she whispered. "I truly do." For the first time in years, the words didn't feel empty. They carried weight, sincerity, and a hint of overdue love. Later, when the guests had gone and the music faded, Ella found herself alone in the empty hall. The chandeliers glowed softly above her, casting warm light over marble and memory. She took a slow breath, feeling peace settle where pain once lived. Her staff lingered quietly nearby, waiting for her cue. "Good night, everyone," she said with a smile. "You did beautifully." As they left one by one, Ella's reflection shimmered in the glass doors, the woman her family had doubted, now standing exactly where she belonged. She walked toward the private elevator, heels echoing softly. The golden doors opened to reveal the same mirrored space where her family had once mocked her. Now it reflected power, not pain. As the elevator rose, Ella thought about the years she'd spent proving her worth. Every rejection had been a brick in her empire. Every insult had become fuel for her success. When the doors opened on the top floor, the view from her office greeted her. City lights sparkling like diamonds scattered across velvet. Ella stepped inside her office, a serene space of white marble, soft music, and floor-to-ceiling windows. On her desk lay the folder from that morning's meeting, the one about Gavin's bank acquisition. She glanced at it, then set it aside. Tonight wasn't about business. It was about peace. She poured herself a glass of water and looked at the skyline. "You did it," she whispered, not to boast but to breathe. Her success no longer needed to shout. It spoke quietly through every corner of this room she'd built. As the clock neared midnight, Ella sent one final message to her assistant. "Begin transition of the family firm's lease. Effective next quarter." Not out of revenge but out of responsibility. It was time to bring structure where chaos had lived too long. She sat back, feeling the weight of the night lift from her shoulders. The past no longer held her hostage. The family that once dismissed her would now remember her with pride, and perhaps humility. That was her quiet victory, greater than any applause. Outside, The city glittered beneath the moonlight as if bowing to its quiet queen. Ella closed the curtains, her reflection fading from view, leaving only peace behind. Down below, her family prepared to leave, changed forever by the truth they had seen. Tomorrow they would rewrite their stories, but this time her name would shine at the center. She smiled faintly, whispering to herself, "I finally took my seat at the table." The night answered with silence, and in that silence Ella found her freedom.